Hello, moms. I am Cynthia Alfaro from Moms Winning, and this is Moms Winning at Work, where we talk about work-related stuff for free for you. That's winning. Today and in partnership every month, we are going to be giving you doses of this goodness. I have my co-host here, Tangela Reed. Introduce yourself, my lady.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tangela Reed of Talent Ready. I'm an HR expert here to help in any way that I can. So hopefully you like the content and looking forward to seeing you every month.
Very good. Okay, so we are old. We're old friends now. I mean, it's after almost a decade or
Yeah,
something like that.
it's been a
Right.
while.
Right. And just to give, like, since it's the new year and we might have new folks following us and all that good stuff, we realized we were living parallel lives, both HR experts, both from single mom households. Like, so we were having a lot of firsts in life. And so we were just spirits that were supposed to come together and support each other through life. And so we thought that this platform was very much needed for moms working. And we just want to solve some problems in this day and age that maybe 10 years ago we couldn't find the answer to. So we provide free resources every month. We have a list of things that we're going to cover. We also just recently did a survey to ask you what you wanted to cover, and we're going to intertwine those topics as well. It's January. It's a great time to talk about annual goals at work. And then what we also are going to talk about, because you wanted to, was how do you stay organized? Okay, that's a very good question. Oh my gosh, working as a mom is super intense. It's like having three jobs and you only get paid for one, right? Everybody saw that article that came out where supposedly moms were supposed to be getting paid $120, $120,000 a year for our job at home. That feels about right. So I'll just be waiting on that check.
Right, me too.
But but let's kick it off with annual goals. Tangela, tell us what you know.
Okay, so during the month of January, most people or most companies are ending their year-end cycle and then getting into goal setting. So I work for an asset management firm. I've worked in financial services for most of my career or consulting. So we do follow a calendar year. If you have a calendar year at your company that may not begin in January, then the dates may be slightly different. But generally speaking, we want to give you an idea of how to set goals, why they're important, and what you need to do to use them, not only to establish some productivity, but also to manage your career. So everyone's probably already heard of things like SMART goals. We've talked about SMART goals in the past, but I don't think we can talk about this too much because most companies and most HR groups and managers will follow this type of formula to create your goals. So SMART goals are the goals that are specific, they're measurable. These are things that you can attain within a year. They're realistic, they're relevant, and they are time bound. So all of those aspects or components of the SMART acronym help you get to a point where you're putting an idea out there, a goal out there that you will be able to measure within a certain amount of time. So some of the tips that I have are: one, follow the acronym. So if you didn't catch that, pause, write it down, or look it up because there's several articles out there. Make sure your goals are aligned with your stakeholders, right? So if you're in a service function like mine, I work in human resources. So typically I'm not just randomly setting goals, right? Like I want people to do goal setting because that's a part of like an HR function, but it's really the point of my function is to make sure our businesses are moving forward, that we're um, encouraging productivity, that we're aligning people in the right way. So when it comes to aligning stakeholders, those are business leaders. Those are people that are running departments, business units, whatever it may be. And you may have your own stakeholders, whether that's your clients who are external or those are your internal clients. So make sure you're having conversations before you're setting goals and kind of just going off on your own and being collaborative with that. We talk about annual goals, but it's important to kind of divide them into quarters. I think it's into quarters, and that may be because we've been reading this new book, which we can tell you guys about later. But quarters just make sense, right? This is when people are typically reporting on results. This is when it's a small enough chunk. It's 3 months where you have enough time to kind of measure whether or not you're doing the right thing or not. You have some time to figure out if you're actually getting the results that you're looking for, but it's not too short. But if you think about it, in one full year, getting all the way out to December is quite some time. So divide your annual goals out into quarterly chunks. What else can I think of here? Okay, so why are goals important, right? So we started off with the acronym, but we want to create goals because we have a vision that we need to align to, which is why you need to talk to your stakeholders. If you don't have a vision, you have no clue what you're doing, don't just keep doing the same things over and over again, especially if you're looking to manage your career. It's important that the things that you're doing are aligned to the vision of the group, the vision of your stakeholders, et cetera. And then your goals also help you to set an action plan. So if you do have a goal, and who knows how many you'll have, maybe you have 3, maybe you have 5 for the year, within that one goal, you should have some actions that you need to take in order to meet the goal. So setting the goals helps us to establish some actions that we can take in order to make sure that we're being productive. And then hopefully, not hopefully, but almost guaranteed, if you follow it, it will lead to results, right? And again, breaking it down into quarters helps us to be able to measure whether or not we're doing things and if we're on the right track or not. And that's why goal setting is so important. So I feel like I'm just talking a lot. Cindy, you want to jump in at all?
Yeah, I would say excellent. I always love hearing your thoroughness and your expertise come to play. Another thing I wanted to mention with goals, like even if you're in a job that you're like on, goals help you stay motivated, right? So there is a fulfillment or a sizzle that comes from by March 31st, 10 out of 10, you nailed it. The things that you said that you were going to do, even in the job that maybe you don't love, you did it, right? And that actually builds momentum to get you through the next quarter, right? So there's this kind of energetic compounding effect. You want to take these small wins and help them lead you to big wins. I also want to mention there is importance in seasons or in jobs that you don't necessarily love and want to stay with forever, because they do help you build your skill sets, either whether it's hard skills or soft skills, right? Like dealing with a challenge at work or a different personality. These are all opportunities to learn. So it's okay that the actual hard numbers and those goals that you set are also coupled with like softer side things that you want to improve upon. It's also a great time to ask for things that you may need to make your life better. So if time management was an issue in the past, now is a great time to say, hey, can I sign up for that course? Or I would love a mentor this year. I liked, or I know this person. Could you, manager, connect me with that person? Kind of think about how you will actually get to these goals. We know what you have to do at the end and what needs to be shown, but how will you get there? This is where you can ask. I really want to ensure that people know it should be a two-way conversation. You should be asking for what you need as well to be successful, even if the relationship is not the best or the job isn't something you want to do forever. And this is also just for women, for moms in particular, think about it as you being able to advocate for yourself on what you need. Is there some leadership support that you need? Is there some accommodation or flexibility that you need? Like, is there a new work schedule that you need to ask for as we talk about these goals, right? We have to talk about how we are going to get there. That's it. Anything you want to add?
Because you brought up what you may need, I have two comments to add, and also just to bring it back to how goals can help moms. So one, we talked about the vision and setting action. It also helps you to kind of compartmentalize where you will focus your efforts, right? So without goals, you kind of are reactive, you kind of do whatever comes up in your inbox. But if you have a goal, a list of goals that are aligned to your stakeholders, you have your actions that you'll plan to do, you can better kind of figure out what will you say yes and no to, like as things kind of pop up, which I think is really important. Like as a mom of three, yeah, it's hard to just balance everything that we need to do. So this helps setting that vision and then the action plan. The other thing you mentioned is asking for what you need, right? So that's not only accommodating, but the professional development piece. So what is it that you need within this job, within this role? And again, because it's aligned to a vision, you've aligned it to stakeholders. If it's related, you'll likely get an easier yes, because you've kind of planned this out and there's some understanding around what you might need. So I just wanted to plug those two things and follow up to what you mentioned.
Fantastic. If I had a mic, I would drop it right now, because that first point that you just made, when we talk about the way we want to feel and live at work, this is part of it. Like, it's the planning associated with it. So when I come into work and I am like all over the place, I have no idea what I'm doing. You know, I could get wrapped into stuff, and
Yeah.
it becomes Friday and you haven't done anything that you needed to do, right? But that focus piece on your most valuable resource, which is what, moms? Your time, you know, your energy, like that helps you to know, like, you're coming in, you're getting these two things done on Monday, and that's it. Because you've planned it. You've planned it so that, like, that's all you need to do today. And then, you know, leave space for the reactionary stuff. But then you can walk away at the end of the week and say, I'm good. I did what I needed to do, right? I didn't have to be so overloaded. That clarity, that focus. I feel like we're done here with this conversation. Just end it right there. No. But if we're good, we'll transition into how to stay organized.
So I do want to transition, but just one last point, because I think once you have your goals in place and you kind of follow all of the things that we've already mentioned, it is important to check in, right? So you set your vision at the very beginning, but then as you kind of go through your quarter, things change within businesses, within companies, within the world. So you just want to make sure it remains relevant by using your check-ins with your manager, or if you're leading a team and it's less about your manager and more about your own vision or strategy, then you want to check in with yourself, make sure your plan still aligns to the results that you're looking for. But like you mentioned, just doing all of those things around managing our time and keeping track of what we're doing on a day-to-day basis, I mean, it does come down to organization. So this is probably a good time to transition into talking about staying organized.
Love it. Thank you. And I encourage everyone to meet with your manager even quarterly. Nothing says that you only have to do a semi-annual and an annual meeting. Like, you can check in deeper on the data, like every quarter, and then even make a plan that you put up on your wall right in front of you that shows you, like, where do I need to be by the end of quarter one? What do I need to be doing this week to get there? So that's the planning part, right? We have the vision. That's kind of like our goals. The planning part needs to come into play. My top tips on how to stay organized. My mom will tell you at 5, I was brushing my teeth at like whatever time I needed to and putting myself to bed. So somehow I'm like wired to be highly disciplined. Hey, sometimes it doesn't work with me and sometimes it works with me. So one thing I do as a successful single mom, and by success, I mean, I'm still breathing and so are my kids, is I decided on what my personal operating system was going to be. POS, say it with me, POS, right? There is this book called Getting Things Done. Don't know the author, but if you Google it, you'll find it. So in this book, I was touched and I just kept the wisdom. Our goal is to have our mind like water. So it's flowing, it's calm, it's not a tidal wave, it's not it's not this storm. How do we get our mind like water? We do that by having a personal operating system. I don't know about you, but I think the number is now like 60,000 marketing or like data points come into our existence every single day. That's a whole lot, right? So if you are viewing this and you're like, I feel a little exhausted right now, it might have been like all the iPhone, checking your iPhone, checking your email, all this stuff. Personal operating systems allow you to get it out of your head. So if your head was like your CPU, your home base for your computer, If you overload your computer, it also breaks down. Same thing happens with your brain. So as things come to you during the day, put it somewhere. For me, it is my notes in my iPhone. My kids laugh at me when they're like, you have 5,000 notes in your notepad. Yeah, but I also have folders. I know where everything is. When I, daydream and say, this is how I want to make, the backyard, I put it somewhere. These are the things I have to purchase this week. I put it somewhere. These are the people I have to follow up with this week. I put it somewhere, right? And I organize it by folder, and that's what I live by. I don't try to keep anything in here because it will overwhelm this home system. Second tip I will say is do more with less. It's a life of minimalization. Now, I know this is hard for us people who can live with full-size closets. Where Tangela and I met in New York City, you didn't have a lot of closet space, so this was maybe like easier. But when you have less stuff, you actually have to clean less laundry to do. And the truth is, you only have one body for 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So how many pairs of jeans do you really need? Think about it. So when you have less, it's less to actually do, right? So that's a tip. Just consider it. Think about, my best friend has definitely hired me in the past to help her minimize her life. Third tip is use your calendars, even for your own time. And Tawny and I have talked about this in the past. So don't tell me where I need to be 3 months from now and it's not on my calendar. Even when people are like, hey, can we meet on Friday? Are you going to send an invite or do you need me to? Because otherwise, I'm not keeping it up here. No way. I will not be there. If you want me to be there, it needs to be on the calendar. And that goes for anything. So before I get set for my week, I even block out times I'm walking, block out times I'm trying to hang out with my kids, block out times I'm working out so that I can get a sense of things on how much actual focused work blocks I have. And then I use that against what I want to accomplish that week. Final tip, and this is just as I think about things from a mother perspective, because we're not only trying to nail it at work, but also at home. Cleaning the house was a lot. And I just was never in a position where I could hire somebody to help come clean the house. So I decided to do little things throughout the week so that Saturday morning with the chores with my kids is a lot less. So while the kids are showering or maybe taking a bath, I'm taking a wipey really quick and wiping down the countertop and the toilet bowl and stuff like that. And it's just like one less thing. So all I have to do is vacuum and mop on Saturday, or I'm making the kids do that, right? So it just, those little things have those that compounding effect too, to lighten the load later. And you just, you don't walk into Saturday or whenever you do your chores feeling like, you know what, I don't have this mountain of stuff to do. It's a little bit less and I can live with it, right? So I'll stop there because I can really go on for days about this, but I hope those tips have been helpful. Anything you want to add, Tani?
I would just say for working moms, everything that you have outlined, if we go back to our first topic, goals and creating an action plan, when you start to think about that action plan, you'll likely need to block some time so that you can complete all of the things that you decided on. I use Outlook at work. It's primarily for business, but then when I have an appointment, doctor's appointment, I need to do an errand, whatever it is, especially with working from home and working at the office, time block, right? Do not book goes onto my calendar. And that's not something I always did, but I think it's one of those things that's important. It helps us with organizing, again, saying yes and no, setting boundaries when it comes to the time that we're offering to our jobs and, managing our time with our family. So yeah, no, that's it from me.
Yeah, I love that part. I actually, since COVID, I stopped taking meetings before 10 in the morning because I was like, likely I have just gone through so much. I'm not my best self at 9 a.m. Let me just catch up let me do like silent things for work and then be ready at 10. Again, COVID has taught us a lot of things. But so today's session, we reviewed annual goals, some nuggets to be thinking about. And we coupled that with how to stay organized. We offered you some tips and tools. Let us know what you think. Tani, will you tell them how to answer your question on your website?
Oh, yeah, good plug. Thank you. So if you go to www.talentreadyllc.com, when you go to the menu, you'll see a space where you can get free advice. So if you go to our website, we can respond to your inquiry there. Or if you text 917-580-2874, text advice to that number, and we're happy to take any questions that you have that are career related, and we'll get back to you within 24 to 72 hours.
Very good. Thank you so much. Again, we made this for us. It's by us for us. When it comes to working moms. And if you liked this, share it with somebody, help us build this community. If you work for an organization or are head of an organization that also values the voices of moms and working moms, let us know. We'd love to partner with you. And until next time in February, I believe we are going over how to invest in yourself and achieve this work-life balance. Okay, until next time, moms, let's win. Thanks, Tani.
No problem. See you next time.